This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the CEO of Outcrop Silver and Gold, Mr. Joe Hebert. Joe, it's great to have you back on. It's been a bit. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm very well, and I hope the same for you.
Well, thank you so much for asking. I understand you're live at PDAC. Is that accurate?
That's correct. Just had to find a quiet place to talk to you.
I appreciate you making the time. What's the sentiment like there?
It's a good crowd. Everyone seems happy to be in person again. A lot of a fairly full booth room, and I'd say it's a little bit upbeat.
That's good to hear. Listen, you've been very, very busy, not just this month, all year, but you had a couple of news releases that had some pretty solid numbers. And by solid, I mean 3 meters of 774 grams of silver equivalent from 2 new targets. You have assays that were pending back on the 2nd of June. You followed that release with the most recent one from the 13th, where you drilled 1.85 meters of 7,609 grams silver equivalent and 4.69 meters of 909 grams silver equivalent. That was from a 1 kilometer step out at Santa Ana. Can you provide a bit of context there, Joe?
Well, yeah. I mean, you sort of summarized it, but basically there's 2 important things about it. It's a kilometer step out. We just keep going north and south and staying in high-grade mineralized vein system. And importantly, with respect to the 1.85 at 7.6 kilograms and the 4.69 meters at 909, that's actually both the highest grade on grams meter and also the thickest high-grade intercept we've had. So it's just encouraging to know that we're just going to continue to put high-grade potential resource together for our compliant resource we want to get out by the end of the year.
How happy are you with the Wits? Because initially when you and I spoke, I mentioned that I thought the project was fantastic. You had great relations locally and nationally, but my only let's wait and see was whether or not you were going to be able to get mineable Wits. And at least in my amateur opinion, so far so good. How are you feeling about the Wits that you're seeing?
Well, the Wits probably are particularly encouraging because it'll obviously, on a weighted average basis or an average basis, it'll affect the overall mining width. But, really, if you can make some comparisons to Silvercrest Chispas, to Blackrock Silver's Tonopah project, I mean, these things can be mined down to 1.5 meter mechanized stopes. And then the other method is commonly implemented for less than half a meter is what's called RACU. It's a very effective means of selective mining to minimize dilution. And and those kind of producers can produce silver for $7 equivalent ounce. And I think that we could be in that category.
What comes next? It's been a busy year. It's been a very busy June. What can we expect the second half of the year, Joe?
We're in the middle of a 18,600 meter program. We're going to start. What we want to do is we want to maximize the number of high-grade chutes. Chutes just means there's a little bit of a segmentation along the vein. It's essentially just like any other vein, like Vistas Panuco, but there's a little bit of separation. So we want to define as many of those as we can, and then come along by priority to drill deeper, because that's the quickest way to put together more volume. So what people will see, for example, we keep, even now we're drilling core with native silver. We know those chutes are going to hit because that's just been the story. If we see silver, we assay silver. So we'll see a continuation of that drilling with 3 rigs. So we'll have a steady news flow. We should be up to about a 2 to 3 week interval on assays. We expect them to be consistently good. And then we will start moving to, we're doing some preliminary metallurgy that looks fantastic with respect to the resource that we'll put out. And then we will start reaching a point where we'll consider a sort of an assay cutoff for the independent QP contractor to actually start with the hardcore reserve calculations.
How's the treasury looking? I know that back in March, you completed a fully subscribed $6.9 million financing that included a strategic investment by none other than Eric Sprott himself. I have to believe that with a 12-kilometer mapped vein system, the kinds of grades and widths that you're hitting, and the initial indications that the metallurgy is going to be favorable, that you have some happy shareholders on board.
Yeah, and it's kind of a truism working with Eric Sprott is it's the way to keep his interest going and to keep and thus in his investments going are basically say what you're going to do and execute that plan, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we're trying to do for our shareholders, and it's just it's a good ride to be on for this project for me professionally.
Joe, I'm looking forward to having you back on. Thank you so much for that update. Looking forward to the assays. We'll chat soon. Safe travels out there.
Okay, thanks so much.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.